YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we'll be talking about Ragnaraikas, the core deck lists, and the deck list that we're gonna talk about for Master Duel. Now, as I've checked some good variants and combos online for this deck, so far they are pretty good with plants, insects, and reptiles, but less with the reptiles because there's only like a couple of decks that you can pair Ragnaraikas with that are basically reptiles. Ogdoadic is one of them, and that is what we're gonna talk about today. And maybe Rikas and Ragnaraikas will be on another video because I think that takes up more time. So without further ado, let's check out our core deck list for Ragnaraikas. Okay, boys and girls, here we are with a core deck list. So there's only like a couple of cards from the Ragnaraika archetype. The thing about this, or the key thing about this, they have their own archetype effects with regards to main deck monsters and then extra deck monsters. So let's talk about these cards one by one. First and foremost, we have here Wicked Butterfly. So you can discard this card, spell summon one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand. If this card is banished from your hand or graveyard, you can draw cards during the end phase of this turn equal to the number of different monster types on your field. That is insect, plants, or reptiles. The effect to dump this card to the graveyard so that you can spell summon one Ragnaraika monster from your hand is pretty good. So I do advise having this to 1 to 2 copies. Really nice of a card. Second, we have the Armored Lizard. You can spell summon this card from your hand by banishing one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your graveyard. And then you can discard one insect, plant, or reptile monster, then target one face of monster your opponent controls, and then return it to the hand. You cannot target insect, plant, or reptile monsters for this effect to bounce. This is a pretty good card if ever you want to wipe the board. With regards to the number of copies, I do agree with just having 1 copy for this, just to have an extra body on the field. Usually they use this for an extender, but most of the time you can just use it to bounce 1 card. Second, we have a copy of Ragnaraika Samurai Beetle. You can special summon this card from your hand by placing one of your banished insect, plant, or reptile monsters to the bottom of your deck. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for a Ragnaraika Link monster, you can target one level 4 or lower insect, plant, or reptile monster from your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. So it's basically like an extender in a sense. It is paired with a really good engine with the Ragnaraika Evil Seed and with the Bloom. Oh yeah, by the way, with the number of copies for Samurai Beetle, just have 1 copy of this. Then we have a copy of the Evil Seed. So you can spell summon this card from your hand by sending one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand to the graveyard. Then, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add up to 2 different Ragnaraika cards, but you need to banish 1 card from your hand. Also, you can spell summon for the rest of the turn except plant, insects, and reptile monsters. With regards to the number of copies, I do advise going for 3 copies of this for any type of deck. With regards to the next card, we have here Ragnaraika Bloom. Insect, plants, and reptile monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Also, other monsters on the field reduces their attack and defense by 300. So you can use one of these effects once per turn. Add 1 Ragnaraika monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. And then for the secondary effect, which is pretty good, spell summon one of your Ragnaraika monsters from your hand, graveyard, or from the banished zone in defense position. So that is your Bloom, and basically you need to have 3 copies for this for any type of deck. But in some cases, if you want to cut this up, it's not really like a big issue. So 1 to 3 copies is practically your choice there, depending on the deck that you're playing. But as long as Evil Seed is on 3 copies, you're good. So usually, for the engine for Ragnaraikas, you have 3 copies of Evil Seed, and the 1 copy of Samurai Beetle, and the 1 copy of Ragnaraika Bloom. That is basically your engine there, or the minimal engine to splash it with another deck. Then lastly, we have the Ragnaraika Hunting Dance. So target cards your opponent controls up to the number of different monster types among the link monsters you control that are insects, plants, or reptiles. If you have the 3 different monster types, you can pop 3 cards on the field, max. If a face-up insect, plant, or reptile monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card and target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. A pretty good addition for the pop as well, in case this is in your graveyard on the next turn. There is one more Ragnaraika card that we haven't tackled, the Ragnaraika Bleach Wisteria. So spell summon this card as a normal monster. Then if you control a Ragnaraika Link monster, you can banish up to 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle 2 insect, plants, or reptile monsters from your graveyard or banish zone into the deck, and if you do, set this card on the field. Regardless, that is your main deck cards for our extra deck. So we have Ragnaraika Stag Sovereign. So if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck and or extra deck, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field, so exactly 2 monsters. So if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it to the bottom of the deck, and if you do, spell summon this card. Also, you cannot spell summon for the rest of the turn except plant, reptiles, and insect monsters. So, like I said, they have the similar effect of spinning back one card on the field to spell summon itself to the field. Then we have the Ragnaraika Chain Coils. If your opponent activates a monster effect, except during damage step, you can activate this effect. Neither player can activate the effects of monsters in hand this turn. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except those monster types. A pretty good lockdown for hand traps in general. Ragnaraika Selene Snapper. You can banish up to 2 monsters from your graveyard, then target that many spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Destroy them. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile monsters, place it at the bottom of the deck, and then special summon. Then next up, we have a copy of Ragnaraika Mantis Monk. You can banish 2 insect, plants, or reptile monsters from your graveyard, add 1 Ragnaraika trap card from your deck to your hand. A pretty good card for gaining access to your trap cards here. And then the next one, which is our last link monster, which is the Ragnaraika Skeletal Soldier. You can target 1 Ragnaraika monster in your graveyard. Basically, it's a monster reborn type of a link monster. Special summon it in defense position. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, special summon this card to the field. Also, you cannot special summon during the turn you activate either of these effects, except insect, plants, and reptile monsters. So, with regards to the number of copies for the extra deck, 1 of each would suffice for each of the link monsters except for the copy of Skeletal Soldier. I do agree with having 2 copies of this just to bring back monsters from your graveyard to the field and gain more momentum in link climbing to a higher link monster. So that is your core deck list, boys and girls. Let's check out our Master Duel deck list. Okay, so for our Master Duel deck list, we have here Ogdoadic and Ragnaraikas. Now, we'll tackle Rikas in the near future though. Hopefully we can by tomorrow, but so far I think that's a pretty hard deck to actually play with. Anywho, so Ogdoadic is one of the best decks to pair with Ragnaraikas, and they are the only reptiles so far that I've seen that is paired with Ragnaraikas. So what can Ogdoadics do? Basically, if this card is in your hand, you can dump another reptile monster to the graveyard and itself. You can just basically combo it off. I'll showcase the combo with that one as well. And the 1.5 combos that I'm going to showcase later on with going second and going first. The reason why we have Thrust here is you can access your Snake Rain that easily because this is a normal spell card, your Triple Tactics talent, your Infinite Impermanence, and even a copy of your Hunting Dance. It's pretty good, to be honest. Daybreak usually gets you more materials to the field to link climb into higher monsters, which is pretty much easy for this deck. For the extra deck, we're using 1 Typhon. It comes out from time to time. Sacred Tree, you can special summon this with the help of a copy of Strena on the field. I'm not sure if we'll have this in Master Duel once the Ragnaraikas will be in, but hopefully we'll have this, though this is a pretty good card to banish 1 monster from the field or the graveyard with 2,000 or less, which is pretty much generic. 2 monsters with different names. But if you don't get this, I think you can just add another copy of the Feral Imp. Feral Imp is on SR for Master Duels. Add 1 reptile monster from your deck to your hand. If you need a deck list for this, it will be in the comment section below. That is our Master Duel deck list. Let's check out our 3 combos with this deck. Starting off with Zealantis OTK. Let's start off this combo. Okay, so for our combos here, guys, we start off with our OTK. So our opponent's going first, summon a monster, whatever. There we go. And then he ends his turn, and all we need to do is just use the effect of Snake Rain. Snake Rain, dump 4 reptiles to the graveyard. So your typical cards that you need to dump is 1 of each of the Ogdoadic cards. So the Nunu, the Noya, and then a copy of Curse, plus a copy of the Night Sword Serpent. The Night Sword will be special summoned to the field since it was sent to the graveyard. Use the effect of Curse, tribute the Serpent. And then with the Curse, it can spell summon an Ogdoadic card from your graveyard, which will get a copy of Noya here, since Noya will get us a copy of our Daybreak. And since we have an Ogdoadic card on the field, we can use the effect of Nunu to spell summon to the field. Since we have 2 level 4s, we can rank up into a copy of the Feral Imp. Feral Imp will get us a copy of the Serpentine Princess to our hand. So this is typically our extender later on. So what we do now is use the effect of Daybreak, tribute our Curse to the field. Now, the Daybreak summons tokens to the field depending on the level of the monster that you tributed, divisible by 2, so you can summon 4 tokens to the field. So we have 4 tokens, and at this point, we can link climb. So first, we go into a copy of our Skeletal Soldier, and then our Mantis, and then lastly, our copy of our Chain Coils. With our Chain Coils, we need to summon afterwards a copy of Zealantis, and then use the effect of the Mantis from the graveyard, tribute or spin back our Feral Imp to summon our Mantis to the field. Now with Mantis on the field, all you need to do now is just use the effect of Zealantis, banish all the monsters on the field for a wipe, and then the first monster you summon to the field would be Mantis. Now Mantis will lock you in spell summoning any monsters that are not insect, plants, or reptiles on the field. So basically Zealantis will be removed, but this is basically a wipe. You're free to attack your opponent head on. So what can we do at this point is we use the extender for the normal summon, which is Serpentine Princess. Normal summon that, tribute that with a copy of the chain coils, and once the Serpentine will be shuffled back to the deck, you can gain access to the Evil Seed, and with the Evil Seed gain access to the Bloom and a copy of the Beetle. So there we go, banish one card, and then we gain access to the Beetle once more with the Bloom, link off. Oh, by the way, you can choose not to use the Monk at this point if you're going for an OTK. If ever you weren't able for an OTK, you can gain access to the trap card by just banishing 2 monsters from the graveyard at this point. So with this, link off the 2 monsters here, and then use the effect of the Beetle to spell summon 1 monster from our graveyard, whatever it is. And then we link up finally into our last monster, which is the Selene Snapper. So with these 3 cards on the field plus 300 to their attack, we have actual lethal. So with this, go for an attack, and that is game. So that is our OTK branch. Let's check out our board if we're going first. Okay guys, so here we are with our board. So let's start off our combo here. Snake Rain, dump 1 card or discard 1 card. So this is basically what we did earlier, but after we summon the tokens, we'll just do another combo. So there we go, get a copy of Daybreak from the Noya, summon the Nuno to the field, rank up, get a copy of the Princess, and then sacrifice or tribute the curse on the field, summon the tokens, and here we are. Okay, so first of all, we go into a copy of Skeletal Soldier, and with the Skeletal Soldier plus the Imp, we go into a copy of Promethean. Promethean will summon the Skeletal Soldier to the field, and with the Promethean plus 1 token, we spell summon the Chains. And then with the Skeletal Soldier plus the 1 token, we summon the Mantis. So with the Mantis on the field, we'll use its effect, banish a copy of the Imp plus a copy of the Soldier. These are the only cards that I want to remove at this point on. Get a trap card, and then with the 2 monsters on the field, we go into a copy of Amble Whale. So Amble Whale on the field, and with this, we extend more with our combo with a copy of Princess on hand. Summon to the field, tribute with a copy of our Mantis. I think Mantis is the best choice, or even going with the coils, but yes, as long as you tribute it or send it back to the deck, you can get access to our Evil Seed. Evil Seed will gain access to our Beetle plus the Bloom. Banish the Beetle, use the Bloom, special summon back our Beetle, and we go into a copy of our Link 5 from the Mantis, the Beetle, and the 1 copy of Evil Seed. And since the Beetle was used as a material for a Link summon, we can spell summon 1 to the field, and that would be the last monster we can tribute or to shuffle back to our deck with a copy of our Chains. So this stops your opponent from ever using hand traps. So we have 1 trap card, we have 2 pops, the hand lockdown, and then pop as well from the Amble Whale plus the Promethean Princess lock as well. So that is basically our board at this point. So that is our board. Let's move on with our last combo, which is with the Ogdoadics. Okay, so for the Ogdoadics, we have here a copy of Noya and a copy of Nunu on hand. So we, like I said, just dump the reptiles to the graveyard if ever you have them on hand. So our Noya will dump a copy of, I think, Curse I dumped here. And then the Nunu will dump a copy of the Armored Lizard to the graveyard. So with this, use the effect of Nunu. So typically you can spell summon Nunu if you have an Ogdoadic or no monsters at all. So with this, we spell summon our Curse to the field. Since it was spell summon, we spell summon our Noya. Noya will get a copy of Daybreak. And at this point, use our Daybreak, Spiritual Summon our tokens, and then link off into our Soldier. Soldier will Spiritual Summon back, or Spiritual Summon our Lizard to the field. And since we have 2 level 4s, we go into a copy of Feral Imp, and then gain access to our Princess. Since we haven't normal summoned yet, we'll use it later on. So Monk will banish, or will be Spiritual Summon and then banish, get a copy of the Trap card, go into a Coils with the one of the tokens there. We use the effect of Daybreak at this point, shuffle back 1 monster from the banished pile, and then dump 1 monster or 1 reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. And the only card we can dump here, or the best card we can dump here, is a copy of Serpent. So there we go. Serpent will be summoned to the field for an additional body, and going for a copy of our Link 5. So the Stag Sovereign. So with this, we go into a copy of or tribute our monster for a copy of Chain Coils. We normal summon our Serpentine Princess, tribute that for a Mantis, summon the Seed to the field, get a copy of Bloom plus the Stag Beetle, or the Samurai Beetle, I mean. Use the effect of Bloom, spell summon the Beetle. Sorry. And go into our copy for, or the Haggard Lizardos, that can gain you access to 1 more card, or allows you to draw 1 more card, which is nice. I like it. So we have the trap card that we searched, and then 1 other card. Maybe you got a copy of a hand trap that you can use during your turn, or your opponent's turn, and then you activate the effect later with the Chain Coil, so that your opponent can use any cards on hand later. I think that's basically all our combos on what we can do with Ragnaraika. Tell me your thoughts about Ragnaraika. I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep safe, good luck. Hopefully we can tackle Rikas in the near future. I'll see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe. Goodbye, guys.